Chapter 28 Shri Sai NATHAYA NAMAHA. This chapter is about 3 stories. Sparrows drawn to Shirdi. First, Lakhamichand. Second, Burhanpore lady. Third, Megha. Preliminary. Sai is not finite or limited. He dwells in all beings, from ants and insects to the god Brahma. He pervades all. Sai was well versed in the knowledge of the Vedas as well as in the science of self-realization. As he was proficient in both these, he was well fitted to the Sadguru. Anyone, though learned but not able to awaken the disciples and establish them in self-realization, does not deserve to be called a Sadguru. Generally, the father gives birth to the body, and death invariably follows life. But Sadguru does away with both life and death, and so he is more kind and merciful than anybody. Sai Baba often said that let his men be at any distance, 1,000 kos away from him, he will be drawn to Shirdi like a sparrow, with a thread tied to its feet. This chapter describes the stories of 3 such sparrows. The first one is Lala Lakhamichand. This gentleman was first serving in the railways and afterwards in Shri Venkateshwar Press in Bombay, and thereafter in the firm of Messrs. Raleigh Brothers as a Munshi. He got the contact of Baba in 1910. 1 or 2 months before Christmas, he saw in his dream at Santa Cruz an old man with a beard, standing and surrounded by his bhaktas. Some days later, he went to the house of his friend, Mr. Dattatreya Manjunath Bijur, to hear the Kirtan by Das Ganu. It was always the practice of Das Ganu to keep Baba's picture in front of the audience while making the Kirtan. Lakhamichand was surprised to see that the features of the old man he saw in his dream tallied exactly with those in the picture, and thus he came to the conclusion that the old man he saw in his dream was Sai Baba himself. The sight of this picture, Das Ganu's Kirtan, and the life of the saint Tukaram, on which Das Ganu discoursed, all these things made a deep impression on his mind, and he pined to go Shirdi. It is always the experience of the bhaktas that God always helps them in their search for Sadguru and other spiritual endeavors. That very night at 8 p.m., a friend named Shankarrao knocked at his door and asked him whether he would accompany him to Shirdi. His joy knew no bounds, and that he at once decided to go to Shirdi. He borrowed rupees 15 from his cousin. After making due preparation, left for Shirdi. In the train, he and his friend Shankarrao did some bhajan and inquired about Sai Baba with some fellow passengers, 4 Mohammedans, who were returning to their place near Shirdi. They all told them that Sai Baba was a great saint living in Shirdi for many years. Then, when they reached Kopargaon, he wanted to buy some good guavas for offering to Baba, but he was so much enwrapped with the scenery and sights there that he forgot to purchase them. When they were nearing Shirdi, he was reminded of the guavas, and just then he saw an old woman with a guava basket on her head running after the thanga. The thanga was stopped, and he gladly purchased some select fruits. When the woman said, "Take all the rest and offer them on my behalf to Baba," the fact was that he had intended to purchase guavas, but that he had forgotten to do so. The old woman's encounter and her devotion to Baba, all these were a surprise to both the friends, and Lakhamichand thought in his mind that the old woman might be some relation of the old man he saw in his dream. Then they drove on and came near Shirdi, and seeing the flags on the masjid, they saluted them. With puja materials in hand, they then went to the masjid and worshipped Baba with due formality. Lakhamichand was much moved and was extremely happy to see Baba. He was enwrapped with Baba's feet as a bee with a sweet smelling lotus. Then Baba spoke as follows: "Cunning fellow, he does bhajan on the way and inquires from others. Why ask others everything we should see with our own eyes? Where is the necessity to question others? Just think for yourself whether your dream is true or not. Where was the necessity of the darshan by taking a loan from a Marwadi? Is the heart's desire now satisfied?" Hearing these words, Lakhamichand was wonderstruck at Baba's omniscience. He was at a loss to know how Baba came to know about all the things that had happened en route from his house to Shirdi. The chief thing to note in this respect is that Baba never liked people to run into debt for taking his darshan or celebrating any holiday or making any pilgrimage. Sanja. At noon, when Lakhamichand was sitting for meals, he got sanja from a devotee as a prasad. He was pleased to have it. Next day also he expected it but got nothing, so he was anxious to get it again. Then on the third day, at the noon aarti time, Bapu Sahib Jog asked Baba what nevaidya he should bring. Baba told him to bring sanja. Then the bhaktas brought 2 big potfuls of sanja. The Lakhamichand was very hungry and there was some pain in his back. Then Baba said to him, "It is good that you are hungry. Take sanja and some medicine for the pain in the back." He was again wonderstruck to see that Baba again read his mind and spoke out what was passing therein. How omniscient was he! Evil eye. On the occasion he once witnessed one night the procession to the Chavdi. Baba then suffered much from cough. He thought that his suffering of Baba might be due to somebody's evil eye. Next morning, when he went to the masjid, Baba spoke to Shama as follows: "I suffered last night from cough. Is it due to some evil eye? I think that somebody's evil eye has worked on me, and so I am suffering." In this case, Baba spoke out what was passing in Lakhmichand's mind. On seeing these proofs of Baba's omniscience and kindness to his bhaktas, he fell prostrate at Baba's feet and said, "I am much pleased with your darshan. Ever be kind and merciful to me. and protect me always. There is no other God to me in this world except your feet. Let my mind be ever wrapped in your bhajan and feet. Let your grace protect me from the miseries of the world, and let me ever chant your name and be happy. After getting Baba's Udi and blessing, he returned home with his friend, much pleased and contented, and singing Baba's glory on the way. He remained a staunch devotee of Baba afterwards, and always sent garlands of flowers, camphor, and dakshina with any person of his acquaintance bound for Shirdi.